Okay, so what about maybe not quite as common in this market because it's so frenzied and fast-paced, but every now and then again I'll see like a sign in the front yard that says for sale by owner, otherwise known to us as a FSBO.
A FSBO. I just taught someone that term the other day. They were like, what are you talking? FSBO, for sale by owner. FSBO.
Yeah, FSBO, right, yeah. So what about, which I love talking about that too because it's so interesting. So FSBO, so they think they're going to net like so much more money because they're not using realtors.
Yeah, this circles back to our conversation about experience. And the reality is until you expose your home to the open market, you never know what offers you are going to get. So you can work with an attorney. There are agents who could present an offer and you can figure out the representation in order to save a couple $1,000s on commission.
Right.
People do it all the time. The real question is, what's the motivation for doing it? Because if it's the idea of saving money, the truth is you're leaving money on the table. And that's going to come in the form of either knowing truly what your house is worth, because in this crazy buyer or market that buyers are just clamoring for homes, right? You're not getting enough exposure. There are some people who are going to see it through your internet advertising, your posting on Facebook and Zillow, maybe Make Me Move, right?
Right.
All of those things. But it's never going to be the full market spectrum of all the buyers out there, right? So we want buyers competing over your home. That's the idea. That's how you get the best money. And then it's, again, that money that you're giving up in negotiating repairs. Who's bringing you the offer? Are either side experienced in negotiations? Is the seller or the buyer? Is everyone unrepresented? And there's liabilities. There's a lot of Washington State disclosures that are required as part of a purchase and sale. And if you don't have someone advising you what's needed, you could potentially risk other issues as well.
Right.
And I'm sure you get these at your house. I don't know a neighborhood that isn't getting probably a stack of cards a month about a builder wanting to buy a home. Very few neighborhoods don't have builders going after the land, right? And I will tell you, I see some in my East Bellevue neighborhood that, it's older mid-century homes. They're smaller, well, they don't even have to be smaller. It doesn't matter what size the house is. And when I look at what the builder paid for the dirt, basically for a tear down, they're buying convenience from the seller. So they're offering a price, whatever. Right. Let's just say $700,000 for a lot. Right. But they let the seller stay there for 6 months with no rent, or they release earnest money, or they make it enticing that it's easy, right? But as a seller, you have to decide how much is convenience worth? Because working with a real estate broker, I can go out and shop your house. If you want easy, we can go out and find a buyer that'll make it easy for you and still get top dollar. So I think those are the things that you have to just caution with for sale by owners. It's a lot of work. Do you want strangers in your home? There's some liability, and hiring a professional may be your best option.
Yeah, and I've tried a couple, like when I've been working with buyers, and I've tried to communicate with them sometimes, and just the authenticity is sometimes missing, and I'm like, oh, I don't know. There's just so much risk, I think, for the buyer even to, go under contract with someone that's, kind of just not really forthcoming about all that.
Yeah, because they don't know whether they are withholding or whether they just truly don't know. Because if you are working with a professional, what's the first thing you do when you take a listing? You're pulling the title report. Yeah. You're seeing who's on title. I just did this recently on a property, and there's someone else on title, and it's all fine. But in all of the communication we've had up until this time, it was relayed that this person is selling the home. And so then I started having to ask, oh, well, who's this other person? How would we get their signatures? Are they agreeing, oh, yeah, that's my cousin and he has an interest in it. But I don't know that, unless someone's asking those questions and looking for the information, you could get really far down the path of buying a home.
Yeah. I think there's so much value, and sometimes people don't see it, but that's what we, talk to our sellers about, is the value that comes in working with a professional. It's because of, the fabulous marketing plan that we put in place, but the negotiations because of our experience. But really, I do think in the end that we do net them more because we get them more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because you bring it to the open market, and that's where we are communicating with the agents. And we're talking with, the buyers, agents that are coming through and
Yeah.
saying, hey, what else can we share with you? And what else would your buyer like to know?
Yeah.
And getting the buyer super excited, because
Totally
that's
agree.
how they submit that amazing offer. And it more than pays for what the cost of a realtor is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Totally agree.
Yeah.
It's a myth.
Yeah, it is. It is.